I'm here with a profile of the deck I played at ARG Hartford this past weekend. I played a going first oriented build of Spirals, rather than the go second build that some people were playing. I finished first after Swiss, day 1, and day 2 I got a game loss for a really stupid, careless deck list error, and lost, unfortunately, to True King Frogs in top 16, a really interesting deck. Overall, the deck only lost 2 matches throughout the weekend. I lost a match in the 1K to actually the same guy, interestingly. He was playing Draco Zoo in that event. Shout out to Steven, Froggy, Logan. He was the only person I lost to, and I lost to him his True Draco Frogs in the top cut and Draco Zoo in the 1K. So, let me get into my deck. Like I said, I played a going first oriented build of Spiral, and what I mean by that is because YCS Prague last week was won by the guy who shotgunned or blinded second every match basically, and ultimately won the YCS going second every game. That was a very popular trend going into this weekend. I think other people topped with that at the YCS also. So there were a lot of people planning on choosing second, and I knew that. So knowing that, I actually played my build to do the opposite. I included some hard trap cards in my main and a lower hand trap count, knowing that I'd be going first very frequently if half my opponents were going to be putting me on that. So let me get into the build. First, the standard stuff: 3 Super Agent, 2 Tough. I like 2, especially since it's a going first build. Drone, Quick Fix, Master Plan, Sleeper, Last Resort, the standard. And then for hand traps, I played 7, which is not super low, but comparatively low to the 10 to 12 some people were playing. 3 Droll, 3 Ash, 1 Maxi. I really still like Droll. A lot of people, from what I saw, were not playing this in the main necessarily this weekend, or were playing less than 3 in favor of other hand traps. I think Reaper was popular in people's mains, and Gamma was very popular. I never really got Drolled that much. But I played 3. I still like Droll. I still feel like, I feel it's the best hand trap to stop, just completely stop their turn. Each hand trap still has something they can still do through it. Through Ash, they can still end on, if they can still access Master Plan without Helix, Ash, they can still end on a lot of stuff, or if they hard open Sleeper. Through Droll, they can still end on, Helix, Master Plan and Defense, or something like that. And, through Reaper, they can still just, Reaper, they can't really end on too much, any extra deck threats, but they can still end with, I don't know. Most games just get into the, grind game now because of all the, hand traps in the mirror. There is actually an argument to be made now that Droll perhaps isn't as good, since Droll is inherently a card that, it is a -1 on its face, so if, you're just going to be grinding for a couple turns, it's technically a -1, but in any case, I still liked Droll a lot. It was still really good for me over the weekend. 3 Resort, 3 Terraforming, 1 Pseudo Space, and 1 Set Rotation I played. I think this was very good. I feel like I definitely couldn't have, seen as many field spells as I did and, access as many cards as I did throughout the weekend if I wasn't playing these 2. I feel like the extra 2 copies of the field spell is very good. I drew this a few times without a resort, but only, a few, and having the extra field spell, the other times when I did draw this with a resort was, it's very good. I like this a lot, and Set Rotation is the same, just another copy resort. There was one game throughout the weekend where I drew both at the same time, but because they're both one-ofs, you're very, very unlikely to see them both, open them both in the same game. It was actually much more likely that you'd open Set Rotation with your Oracle or your Gateway to Chaos last format, because at that point you're playing a 3-of and a 1-of, so the odds of opening a 3-of with a 1-of is what is it? It's 1 in 24, I want to say? And the odds of opening a 1-of with a 1-of is 1 in 64. So I like that a lot. I sided it out sometimes, but other times I didn't. Siding was also very interesting this weekend, but I'll get into that in a bit. 3 Foolish Burial Goods I played. 1 Assault. Foolish Burial of Goods was solid. I very much like Foolish Burial of Goods over, Double Summon, because it can be either a Double Summon or a Big Red, depending on the situation, because you can dump either a spell to make it a Double Summon or dump the trap to make it a Big Red, so it's more versatile than Double Summon, by far. Also, if you open, hard Master Plan and have no real, plays, other than, a normal summonable monster, you can send Assault and just summon Master Plan from hand, which is another thing you can't do with double summon. And then that can, like, if you can do that and just have, like, any other normal summon, you could just make Helix and just go off from there. So that's really helpful. That does come up a decent amount, like, if you just hard open Master Plan with the weak hand. I actually am thinking about cutting the Foolish Burial package entirely and playing neither Goods nor Double Summon. I definitely like Goods over Double Summon, but I was actually thinking about cutting both, playing neither. Because there were a lot of games, most of the games I feel like were never decided by Goods. Like, a lot of times, as long as you can still just do a drone agent combo, like, even if you can't do a quick fix combo, which is what Goods enables, you still, like, either can, like, still either play or not play independently of that, more so just depending on whether or not they have a hand trap. I feel like doing the quick fix combo, which again requires Goods, isn't really that like crucial. So I think I might try build playing no Goods or double summon, but we'll see. I generally sided out one Goods. I kept the others in throughout the weekend. So I never played any games without them. But I played one Upstart, one Big Red, one 1-for-1, Foolish, Rhoda, Soul Charge, all the 1-up spells. Charge was the 40th card I put in. I was playing Gofu before that, but in the past I've always felt like Gofu is a card that, like, the way I always explained it was you win or lose, like, it gives you a big monster, but you generally win or lose your games independently of having, like, a big monster. Like, either you have enough, like, combo cards, like actual Spiral cards, to play through their hand traps in the long run, or, like, they have enough hand traps to stop you and do their own combo. Like, and vice versa. Like, yes, beatdown is somewhat relevant because of the nature of the grind game in this mirror, but I feel like, just playing a card just to, like, basically play for beatdown, just to, like, either make your combo bigger, which is kind of win more in a way, or just, like, sit on a big monster if you're playing, like, a hand trap like grind game, I feel like isn't that great. But I don't know, as it has gotten, like, so grindy with all the hand traps, I might put Gofu back in just because I feel like beatdown might again, like, kind of just be a relevant thing. But then for traps, I played 2 Rescue. I generally very often side one out. I play 2 because I play Goods, so a lot of times, like, you rarely ever do the full Trigate combo where you use both to do a big combo, but, like, you can do that sometimes, and if ever, like, your opponent doesn't open a hand trap, you're basically only loss condition is evenly matched, and the Trigate does play around evenly matched, so sometimes doing the full combo can be helpful, but it's mainly there more so just because I'm playing Goods, so sometimes you'll want to, like, dump one with Goods, like, at some point, and you'll have another one to, like, search with Master Plan and set. So there's a lot of games where, like, 2 comes up because of that. One Utility Wire, this is, I think, I really believe in playing this card. I think this was, like, I almost want to say this was, like, the biggest advantage in my, like, build over, like, a card, like, as far as a difference that, like, a lot of people weren't doing, since a lot of people have cut this, especially in the going second builds. Even going second, there have been a lot of games where, like, just being able to have the searchable disruption, even, like, going second, because even going second, you're going to get in, plenty of games get into grind games. So, first or second, just having the searchable disruption, I think is very good. There's plenty of games where, like, this has been crucial. So, I definitely believe in playing Utility Wire. And then the last thing I played was 2 Solemn Strike. Like I said in the beginning, because I was playing a going first build, since I was banking on a lot of my opponents choosing to have me go first, even when they won the die roll, which multiple of my opponents did, I wanted to have, I chose to play a couple just hard trap cards, and I felt Strike is just the most, like, versatile, consistent trap, like, all around good in general against all matchups. So, yeah. There were plenty of games where my opponents did have me go first game 1 after winning the dice roll, and I opened this, and it was very helpful. It's not like a blowout card. There were never any games where, like, it was, like, I won the game because of it, but definitely, like, it's a card that, like, contributes to ultimately winning the grind game. So, those were good. Now into my extra deck. My extra deck's kind of a meme because there were 11 cards in my extra deck that I could summon. I also didn't have it sleeved until round 8. Now it's not sleeved again. Funny story behind that. So, I couldn't decide for the life of me, like, whether I wanted to play SPYRAL or Magicians going into this event, ironically, because I ended up playing SPYRAL and doing well with it, but I actually had a build ready, a very solid build I felt, for both decks, prepared, and I ended up deciding, like, very last minute on playing SPYRAL, to the point where, I was making the final adjustments to my list as round 1 was going up. So I ended up cutting Gofu last minute, but never had time to cut this guy. Or this guy. So I played these without Gofu, couldn't summon that. I summoned this once with like 2 helixes. That was interesting. But yeah, those were there. So that's the story behind those. Then there's these. Couldn't summon these either. These are for Reaper. Didn't play either of those decks, so those didn't come up. Trigate Wizard. I made this once. There was one game where my opponent didn't open any hand traps, and I was able to do the full combo. There's a second game where I actually could have gone into it, where they didn't open any hand traps. I could have done the Trigate combo against the Trickstar deck, but I had droned him and saw he was playing Kaijus, so I didn't, on the off chance he opened Kaiju evenly matched, I didn't want to play into that by investing all my resources into this combo, so I just did like a midway board, never ended up summoning this. But there was one game during the weekend where I did summon this. Same game as the one game where I summoned Firewall above it for the combo. Only did that once, so those guys came up once. I think this came up like once. Borload's really good. Borload always comes up in the mirror a lot. It actually didn't come up, surprisingly, didn't come up that much this weekend. So many of my games just went with like either me or the opponent like bricking, or like someone starting with like Reaper or Droll, and just like every game seemed to start out so slow this weekend. No one ever really like even went like to the point of like making a semi-decent board and getting board loaded. So this didn't actually come up that much, but it came up a few times. Definitely for taking the opponent's sleepers, crucial. It's a really good link. Baguska made this once or twice. It comes up, especially when you're under Reaper. Mainly when you're under Reaper, it's a good, like, one of the better extra deck cards to go into when you're under Reaper. That was also one of the times I made Borload. I actually just made it, turn 1, interestingly. Proxy Dragon, Deco Toker, Princess Sprite, make these all the time, and 3 Helix. The third one very rarely comes up, but because this deck has naturally so much extra deck space, I think it's worth playing the third one. It does come up sometimes. And that's the extra deck. And then the side deck. Where's my side deck? Alright. So in the side, I played for traps for going first. 2 additional Solemns, the other 2, the third strike in the morning. 3 Mind Crush. So again, I really felt that like going first is like just still naturally better in the mirror and any matchup. So when I had the choice, I went first in games 2 or 3 as well as game 1. And basically siding was very interesting throughout the weekend, because again, when I had the choice, chose to go first, generally put all of this in, which put me at 7 hard traps in the main. I like that a lot. Mind Crush is really good, obviously plays around evenly matched, but normally just ends up trading with Super Agent as a 1-for-1, but that's still decent. Super Agent is kind of important to be able to summon to combos sometimes, if you have like something else, like, so like if they stop you and you really end on like not much, like even just like 1 Mind Crush and 1 hand trap can be enough to stop them on their turn. So between the 7 hand traps in the main and the 7 hard traps that all would be in the deck going first, I think there's a solid amount of disruption and definitely helps you stay in the grind game. Also, there are actually a lot of matchups where surprisingly where Mind Crush was good. Like you can side it in pretty much any matchup right now. Against Trickstar, it's actually better than Strike, because Strike just gets stunned by Light Stage against Trickstar. Like they go Light Stage, it resolves, they add Candina. You can't just wait for them to normal summon and strike the Candina, because they're just going to lock this with Light Stage. So Mind Crush is actually better there. They add Candina, you just Mind Crush it. They can't Light Stage this. So those are those. 3 Cosmic Cyclone. I guess from what I saw, like hard spell and trap removal hasn't been as popular lately in like Spiral players' sides. A lot of players were preferring to go with like Magical Spring, since the main matchup you're putting spell and trap removal in for is Magician, and like Spring is considered to be just very strong against Magician. But I think I very much like this card just because it's overall versatile card that can go in like almost any matchup, most matchups. I was playing Twister for a while in this deck because I felt like this is a deck where sometimes like you actually want the discard outlet. In practice, that was very much not the case, and the discard generally was a liability, and I liked Cyclone a lot. Once I switched the Twisters with Cyclone a week or 2 ago, I started putting this in a lot more, going first or second in a lot of matchups, and I liked it. Like going first against Trickstar, going first or second against Magician. I like Cyclone as a card. I tried to build the side to just have like a lot of just generic cards. like all these are 1-for-1s, but they're all just solid generic cards that I think just add consistency together. And 3 evenly matched. I don't think I ever resolved this weekend because I only played against one magician. I didn't draw it against him, and I'd never really put it in the mirror. That was something that I thought about in theory. Since in some of those games where like you hand trap them, like you Reaper them or you drill them, they still end on like field spell, monster, back row, let's say. And in those situations, this can still be like a +1 or a +2. But I didn't really have time to test it, and I never ultimately decided to take the chance changing up the side routine. So I never put these in the mirror. But obviously you want to side them anyway for magician. 3 Reaper. This was I ended up putting this in probably more than any other card, because so like I said, when I knew I was going to be able to choose to go first, I'd put in all the trap cards, depending on the matchup, the Cyclone. But in the mirror, where when it was their turn to choose and you don't know whether they're going to be going first or second, that added a very, very interesting dynamic all weekend, because there were so many games where like you weren't sure whether you were going first or second, because all the people who like chose second game 1 after winning the dice roll, like they could be choosing first or second for games 2 and 3. Like you don't know. People went all different ways this weekend. So this I felt was like one of the better cards to put in if you when I was unsure. When I was unsure, I would generally keep in the 7 hand traps from the main, obviously, 2 to 4 hard traps, and then 2 Reaper and Ogre, because these are kind of like they're hand traps. And hand traps are naturally good going first or second, so obviously better than hard traps. So I would generally put these in if I was unsure, and then if I was sure I was going second, like if they had gone first game 1 and I was confident they were going to do it again, then I would put in all 4 of these whenever I was pretty confident I was going to be going second. So that was basically the side for the weekend. Yeah, so that's that. Let's see, what else do I need to say? I like the build a lot. It worked very well. Most of the mirror games were just, well, there's always some games where like one player doesn't open a hand trap, and like the other player just combos and you basically have to scoop. There's always a good number of games like that, and then there's also a lot of games in the mirror where one player bricks. I bricked a good number of times, not too many times, and then most of the games in the mirror just come down to hand traps, grinding for several turns, a lot of literally just normal summoning, attacking, tough stuff like that. So it's very interesting. A lot of good interactive games, actually. So yeah, my matchups overall were 8 SPYRAL. I won all 8 mirrors that I played throughout the weekend. Beat both Trickster I played against, the Magician I played against, and then I'm counting matches between the 1K and the main event. The main event technically was 6 SPYRAL. I played against 6 SPYRAL, 1 Magician, 1 Trickstar. The 1K was 2 SPYRAL, 1 Trickstar, 1 Invoked, and 1 Magical Musketeer, which I actually believe is, by the way, the worst matchup for this deck. I lost to 5 of those in a row on Dueling Book one night last week. That was sad. But yeah, and then I won all of those matches, and then the 2 decks I lost to, like I said before, were True King Frog with a game loss, and True Draco Zoo. So it was an interesting weekend. Shout out to everyone who's at the event. We had 220 players. ARG Hartford was it's my home state of Connecticut, so it's always cool to do well in your home state and see all your friends there since it's local. And yeah, so shout out to all my friends. Shout out to my teammates. Shout out to my good friend Vinny. He also topped the event. He played Magician. He was one of, I think, the 3 or 4 non-SPYRAL players who topped. Shout out to my friend Alex for driving me to the event Saturday. He stuck around waiting for me basically throughout the night, so I appreciate that. Shout out to my dad for driving me the second day, driving me back up for Top Cut, and shout out to the card guys and all you guys. I think that's it.